Hey everyone, Eli Copperman here. It's been a while since I've done any episode of Eli's Thoughts. Well, a good reason for that is because I've just been doing a lot of stuff lately. I'm preparing for the next college I'm going to, and I've been working on a music video, which hopefully should be out soon. Just give it some time. Don't worry. It's actually done now. It just needs to be approved and all that. But I'm sure like this time it'll get approved and all that. But I should just let you all know that given all the stuff I've been doing over the past couple months, it's kind of led to me growing very very anxious. And I'm just going to come out and say it cuz I don't know if any of you who have followed me over the years actually know this or not, but I have anxiety. Oh, big shocker. Come on, lots of YouTubers have it. Yeah, but not everyone does. And it's actually not something that's really talked about as much on social media, or at least not on places like YouTube or Twitter as much as you'd like to think. You'll definitely find it online if you like search up ways to deal with anxiety and all that, but you rarely find, well, not rarely, I guess, but you don't often find a lot of people who talk about their anxiety, and it really is nice when you do find them because most of the time they are very sincere about them. And that's because anxiety is something that affects a lot of us. And it affected me. I mean, granted, it's affected me throughout a good chunk of my life. Sometimes when I start something, I get really nervous about the process. And when I actually do it, often it's pretty smooth, but then, you bump into those hurdles or obstacles and they make you a bit hysterical when in reality they shouldn't. But in addition, you also have the dilemma of just not being able to step back and just reflect and say, hey, this really is not worth freaking out over. I should probably calm down and all that jazz. And I'm no expert on the subject of anxiety, but I do know that everyone's a work in progress. Some people can deal with it well throughout their whole lives and survive in spite of it. Other people need a lot of support and, have severe mental disabilities that, well, maybe not mental disabilities. The point is, anxiety can affect us for the better and the worse. It affects us for the better in the sense that although we do live with it, we acknowledge our disability to live in spite of it and to our absolute damnedest to progress in society. And there have been many people who have, Temple Grandin, Dan Aykroyd. Well, I guess he's autistic. I don't know if he's ever had anxiety. But the point is, there are plenty of well-known people who we probably don't even know about who have suffered from anxiety throughout their whole life. And we never even knew about it until now, if you just look them up. But then, of course, there's how anxiety affects us for the worse. And in that sense, well, let's just say there are certain individuals who, no matter what happens in their life, even if it's something really minor like, oh, you stubbed your toe or oh, you broke a glass, it can be nerve-wracking to the nth degree because they don't really have the proper mental capacity to just step back and breathe. It's not their fault. It's just what happens, And it really is unfortunate. But they're still good individuals, which is why I really want to talk to those who have followed me over the years. Do you suffer from anxiety yourself? And if so, please tell me about it. Now, okay, I'm not like trying to say, oh, I'm the big, psychology expert and all that. Like, I'm not, as I stated before. But the reason why I say that is because, I've been on social media for a long time, like more than 11 years at this point. And, only last year did I get my Twitter page and Instagram page and all that. And only, what was it, like 4 to 5 years ago that I started my YouTube channel. And of course, when you're on social media for so long, like, you tend to see the really toxic people, like trolls and Tumblrites, or, well, I guess the Tumblr's gone, but like, the nasty people on Twitter who let's be honest, kind of wants you dead. That's just inevitable. Hi, car. I'm recording this in one go anyway, so who cares? But anyway, the point is, when it comes to the people who berate you online just for their own sick game, obviously I can't speak for everyone, but I know plenty of you can do better. And part of that is to just acknowledge that they're either just a troll or an asshole and just step back and realize they're not worth your time. Because there comes a point where you let the negativity get to you and it ends up ruining your life. And, obviously you might not be able to deal with it that well because you're not, used to all this negativity, but they can't hurt you if they don't know where you live, who you are, and all that jazz. Granted, if they do, that's a very concerning problem. But in terms of what they are now, you just got to back away from it. You just got to back away from social media and go outside. You just got to go outside once in a while and soak in the sun, soak in the wind, soak in the birds chirping, all that jazz. There's birds chirping as we speak. But in addition, I should probably mention this relates to me. Because, once upon a time, I used to be really negative. Oh God. The best way to describe myself is that I was very close to being considered that Channel Awesome fan. That type of person. I don't like to put labels on people, but what I mean to say is there was a point where I would just bitch and moan about the little things that really weren't even worth bitching about. I would complain about cartoons that weren't even all that bad in the first place. And even the ones that were bad, I would treat them like they're the worst thing to mankind. And I hate to say this, but there was a point in time where I refused to watch something just because one of my favorite YouTubers or entertainers said it was crap. Yeah, that's what it was like. And I did my best to be nice to people, but there were times when I would say some, mean things in the comments and, I would get bitten in the butt. And, some people would call me out on that, and yeah, honestly, I kind of deserved that. I was not exactly the nicest person back then. But, I only took into consideration what the people with genuine comments towards me had to say, not the stuff where it's oh, you're a troll, you're a faggot, oh, you're triggered, and all that, because, I don't like to listen to those. And if I listen to those more, it just makes me feel all the more anxious. And that's not something that I want to live by. Believe me, it's an unhealthy experience. So that's why I am so happy and relieved, very much relieved, that nowadays I've grown. Not just in taking criticism and to be a lot more open-minded about what the media is, or more so what media is coming out and what media to consume and all that, but also to just step back and relax. Nowadays I'm able to be a lot more calm and collective and just make sure that I don't react a lot. Granted, there are times where I do overreact. I can admit there are still times I overreact, but after I have my little venting session, I go, oh man, I feel awful. Believe me, my parents know what I'm talking about. The point is, though, after those venting sessions, I just calm down and I enjoy the rest of the day. And, funny enough, part of what I do to get over my anxiety is I watch movies, I draw cartoons, I watch other YouTube videos and all that jazz. I listen to music. That's a great method. You should definitely listen to some classic jazz. It's great for the soul. Oh, yeah. God, it's cheesy. But I also have cats. Cats are a great method. Not just cats, but also dogs, rabbits, pigs, any pets you have. They're a great comfort. Because, and funny enough, considering that a lot of people nowadays work home, probably a lot more than they used to, it's really helpful when you have a pet by your side who can just steer you away from all the work you have. Because, I can admit, there are some tendencies in me that come close to labeling me as a workaholic, but I'm really not a workaholic at all. I just really do my best with the material I'm given on a certain project, and I just go with the flow. And, of course, whatever project that I work on will always have obstacles. I went through plenty of obstacles making Fernando Fox, for goodness sake. But I was still able to have some form of confidence and be like, okay, I have this deadline, I gotta work through it, and I gotta make sure I set all my priorities ahead of time. And it worked. It's just 2.5 minutes, it's not overly long, it's not pretentious as hell, it's a pretty well-structured short film. But I can imagine if I let my anxiety get the best of me, I would have never finished that short film, let me tell you. But yeah, like, it's also great when you're able to make projects ahead of time without worrying too much about the deadline. Obviously, that should be a concern, but not the only concern. You gotta work with what you have, but you also gotta satisfy yourself first. In my opinion, at least. And that's kind of what I want a lot of you all to take away from this. Because, like, a good chunk of you follow me. You're pretty young. You're probably even younger than I am. Are you? I don't know. But, like, some of my friends really love cartoons and animation and all that. They're passionate about it. And, they love a lot of the same stuff as I do. We're big Looney Tunes fans and all that jazz. Some of us are actually planning to be animation historians, which is great in my opinion. That's amazing. But what I want you all to take away from this is to make sure you follow your passion formally and you don't get too nervous about what the future holds. I mean, granted, the future is something you should be concerned about, as I am. Like, I don't know where I'm going to be within the next 5 years, or even the next 2 years after I graduate the next college. That I'm going to anyway. But it's still important to think about. And who knows, the future will be the best thing ever. The best time of your lives is probably just 2 years ahead of you. You never know. And I don't know either. I'm very optimistic about that. Concerned, yes, but optimistic. If I had let anxiety consume my own personal bubble, then I probably wouldn't be thinking about the future positively at all. I would have just dreaded it the whole time. And there have been a couple times where I have cried about it, but there are only a couple times, and I'm a lot more aware about it now. Yeah, god damn. These past few weeks must have really got to me if I'm getting all deep and profound, although I'm probably not as profound as other viewers. But yeah, hope you guys are really enjoying my, TED Talk. And before I go, I just want to conclude with one last bit of advice. Don't forget that even with all the projects in the world, no matter how much stuff you have on your plate, if you know how to balance it without going overboard, you're doing something right. And hey, look at me. I survived 2 years of art school, and I'm going to go on to do 2 more. So, hey, I'm sure you all can do a lot more. And I know you can. I mean, I don't know what you guys want to do with your lives, but hey, it's your business, but you got to be the main priority. You need to be the guide to it. You got to follow your passion. So make sure that your anxiety, if you have it, doesn't get the better of you. Because it didn't get the better of me. I learned a long time ago to never let it do that. And I think it can to you guys. I made so much artwork, so many weird videos, and just so much weird content in general this year. And I can't wait to do more once I return to art school. So yeah, whatever you guys were doing before you watched this video, or what you want to do after you do it, just go back to doing what you love. Keep on enjoying your passion, keep on following your dreams, or better yet, just watch more movies, read more books, look up to your influences, if they're good people anyway. And above all else, just keep remembering that you are special in your own way, like everybody. And I'll keep loving every single one of you. So until then, keep on trucking, folks. I'll make more content soon. Take care.